Thanksgiving Day, 1997, is a day I'll never forget. As I sat with my family watching football, smell of turkey in the air, we heard a scream from outside. As we looked out the door, we saw my uncle on the ground, with a police officer on his back, hitting him repeatedly, over and over with his nightstick. When all was said and done, my uncle was left with a broken arm in 2 places, a gash in his head, and a concussion. He was the victim of police misconduct. I'm here to talk to you tonight about this issue. Police misconduct has been a problem in the United States for far too long, and the consequences are far too great. We must aim to stop it. So first I want to talk to you about the problem, give you a couple examples. Next I'd like to talk about the consequences and how we're affected by it. Third, I'll give you the causes, what's perpetuating police misconduct. And lastly, I want to offer a couple solutions that I think will help stop this problem. So according to a Cato Institute report released in 2011, in the year 2010, there was 4,861 reports of police misconduct. Of those 4,000 plus reports, 1,575 were reports of police brutality and violence. With all those reports combined, there was a $346,512,800 in direct costs stemming from legal and settlement fees for all those victims. Now those numbers can seem a bit abstract, so let me give you a couple examples. In 1991, Rodney King was pulled over for speeding. He was pulled out of his vehicle by 4 police officers and brutally beaten. Those 4 officers were tried in court for their actions and all found not guilty. In 1992, following that verdict, violent riots broke out in the streets of Los Angeles. From those riots, there was 55 deaths, over 600 buildings were destroyed, and $1 billion in damage. Another example is Abner Louima. Mr. Louima was a Haitian immigrant living in New York. On August 4th of 1997, he was arrested for allegedly participating in a bar fight. He was taken to the 70th precinct in New York City, where, while handcuffed, his arresting officer and one other officer brought him to a bathroom and began to beat him. They hit him, kicked him, hit him with their flashlights and nightsticks, and then one of the officers grabbed a broom. He broke the broom over his knee and began to sodomize Mr. Louima as he lay on the floor bleeding. The final example I'd like to give is Sean Bell. On August 25th of 2006, the night before his wedding, Mr. Bell was celebrating his bachelor party. He was at a club late that night with friends when an argument broke out. 6 officers arrived on the scene and fired a total of 50 rounds. One officer even fired 31 shots, meaning he took out his weapon, emptied his clip, took the time to reload, and began firing again. 50 shots on unarmed men. Sean Bell was killed, and his best friend was paralyzed, less than 24 hours before the wedding. Now, what are the consequences of police misconduct? One, it can be deadly, as we can see by the case of Sean Bell. Second, the reaction to police misconduct can have great consequences, such as the $1 billion in damages stemming from the Rodney King riots. Third, it's costing us money. In 2010 alone, over $346 million. That's money that could go to our schools, to putting more police officers on the streets, to keeping our city safer. And finally, police misconduct is hurting race relations and safety in our country. Now let me explain that. The 3 examples I gave you were all cases of misconduct carried out against Hispanic or African American men. And that's not a consequence. According to a study by Brad Smith and Malcolm Holmes in 2003 for the Journal of Criminology, the report showed that African Americans and Hispanics were more likely to be victims of police misconduct than any other race. Also, according to a study by 2 George Washington University professors in 2005, African Americans and Hispanics are more likely to live in high crime areas, which means they have more interactions with the police force. And because they're more likely to be victims of police misconduct, they don't trust the police and are uncooperative when the police are investigating crimes. That means crimes go unsolved and our streets are not as safe as they could be. Now, what's perpetuating police misconduct? Well, one, there's oftentimes very loose sanctions when officers are found guilty. And second, there's what exists, something called the Blue Code. The Blue Code is an unwritten rule amongst police officers not to tell on each other if something does go wrong. So here are my two solutions. First of all, there must be stricter sanctions. Officers must be terminated if they are found guilty of serious misconduct. Not only that, but officers who help collaborate and cover up stories have to be terminated as well. That behavior will not stand. And second is the implementation of citizen review boards. These review boards will replace the current police review boards that are in place to hear cases of misconduct. The citizens will help hold officers accountable for their actions and help to eliminate the Blue Code that is helping perpetuate this issue. So in conclusion, police misconduct is a serious problem with serious consequences and one that we must aim to stop. My family was affected by it, and let's work together so that none of yours will ever be. Thank you.